Level 100. The pinnacle of power for a Pokemon. Very few Pokemon ever reach this level. This is a series of videos in which I push Pokemon's levels to the absolute limit by raising them to 100 in unconventional ways and environments. Because, more or less, I'm crazy. This is the Level 100 Gauntlet. I hope you enjoy.
In Platinum version, at the resort area, I think there's a reason why people swim in swimming pools instead of the pond. Deep below the water's surface, only accessible with the Super Rod, there lies a hidden kingdom. This kingdom's inhabitants range from the same level of a newly hatched Pokemon, level 1, all the way up to levels higher than the legendary Dialga, Palkia, Giratina, and even Arceus. In fact, legends state that there might even be a hidden level 100 ruler of this kingdom. This glorious kingdom of Magikarp. I've been obsessed with the concept of these strangely leveled Magikarp for quite a few years now. In fact, I made my first video on how to find the wild level 100 carp almost 8 years ago now. And yet I still have unfinished business here in the resort area. My goal today is to have a race with myself, to see what happens first. Reaching level 100 off of only these Magikarp, or finding the elusive, level 1, Prince of the Pond, the wild level 1 Magikarp. Both of these tasks are going to be pretty difficult, and I'm really not sure which one is going to happen first. But in this video, I will guarantee that both of these will happen, and I'll keep grinding until they do. But here's why they're going to be so hard. Let's talk about it. So battling all these Magikarp. The battles themselves aren't necessarily going to be difficult at all, because with the way that I'm setting this up, there's no way they can even hurt us. But the difficulty in this gauntlet is going to come from how long and tedious it's going to be, defeating these Magikarp over and over and over again. Even though we're going to be seeing some super high level Magikarp, we're still not going to be getting in a lot of experience. Because if you look at a list of Pokemon by base experience yield in the 4th gen games, Magikarp stands at the absolute bottom of the barrel, with only a base 20 EXP yield. To put things into perspective, defeating a level 100 Magikarp that we fished up gives us less experience than just regularly surfing on the pond and fighting a level 40-something Psyduck. So we're definitely locked into doing hundreds, maybe even thousands of battles for this. But in addition to that, getting those encounters themselves might be a little bit tedious too. As of Pokemon Emerald, the abilities Suction Cups and Sticky Hold are supposed to help you get fishing encounters more easily. But in the Sinnoh games, there's a not often talked about coding error that prevents these abilities from working correctly outside of battle. So we're going to be seeing this not even a nibble message a whole lot. At the end of the day, not being able to use these abilities isn't really too big of a deal. But when you're doing hundreds or thousands of encounters like we'll be doing, it does kind of add up over time and make the whole process a little bit more tedious. And this also applies to the second part of this. And this part's a doozy. Finding the wild level 1 Magikarp. So, at first glance, this doesn't sound too bad. Because if you think about it, there are Magikarp ranging from level 1 to 100 here, so for any desired level, you have a 1% chance of finding it, right? Unfortunately, it doesn't work out as conveniently as that. In fact, the level 1 Magikarp in particular is rarer than a full odds 1 in 8192 shiny Pokemon. To be more exact, your chances of finding this level 1 Magikarp are 1 in 10,000, because only the 1% encounter slot is capable of producing Magikarp that range from level 1 to 100. So finding this level 1 Magikarp is having 2 independent 1% events happen at the same time, which equals out to 1 in 10,000. The same thing would be true about the level 100 Magikarp, but we can cheese that and improve our odds drastically by leading our party with a Pokemon with the ability Pressure, Hustle, or Vital Spirit. These abilities draw out the highest leveled Pokemon from the encounter slot 50% of the time, making our chances of finding the level 100 Magikarp a much more reasonable 1 in 200. For the sake of the gauntlet, this would be more efficient for experience, but in our hunt for the level 1 Magikarp, this is only a hindrance, so I'm not going to be doing this. 8 years ago, when I first found the level 100 Magikarp, I didn't think I was patient enough to be capable of hunting this level 1 Magikarp. I thought of these 1 in 10,000 odds as something terrifying. Something that would constantly be on my mind with every encounter, thinking about how it could potentially last forever and be a fool's errand. But back then, I wasn't a seasoned shiny hunter who's found over 100 full odds shinies. And I had also never attempted a level 100 Gauntlet, and didn't yet understand the joys of grinding something out in a game. If there's one thing I've learned from all these years of doing these grindy things like shiny hunting or level 100 gauntlets, it's that the journey to reach this end goal is something that becomes a very personal journey. Because normally when you're actively playing a video game, just to say, beat the game or something, your experience is almost solely defined by what happens within the confines of the virtual world of the game. The player character provides a very easy focal point for your journey, going from point A to point B. But when you take on a grind like this, if you want to see what the journey is really like, it kind of forces you to look outside the box of what's going on within the virtual world, because the player character more often than not is doing the same thing over and over again. The real narrative of the journey of the grind is centered around you, the player, and what you do to break the monotony of it all. What happens in life around you. And then suddenly you've arrived, and the journey's complete, and you look back on what you did, and the whole summation of the experience, more so than just what happened in the virtual world, becomes all these good memories. And so far, all of these shiny hunts and gauntlets that sound like a total waste of my life have been the exact opposite of that. So I look at the odds of finding this Magikarp and how long I'm going to have to be grinding to get to level 100, and I look at those things with only excitement, and not with any sort of fear anymore. Because I've got an exciting journey ahead, with surely quite a few stories to be told. I started preparing for this by booting up my Japanese copy of Diamond and hatching a Rotom. I picked Rotom for this gauntlet because it's a ghost type, meaning that none of Magikarp's normal moves will affect it, and because Rotom, short for Rotomus, is a very cool Pokemon. I hatched it on my Japanese Diamond because there's an additional experience boost that Pokemon from foreign language games get. So I taught this Rotom Toxic and traded it over to my Platinum version. Then, I gave it a Lucky Egg for an extra little bit of experience boost, because we need all the boosts that we can get for this. And it was as simple as that. The gauntlet and the hunt began. I'm about to cast my line for the very first time for this gauntlet. This is one small cast for a fisherman. This is a giant net for fishermankind. Let's catch some carp. Not even a nibble. Magikarp number 1. Level 57. Our first battles of this gauntlet were pretty slow. It mostly consisted of using a combination of Toxic, Confuse Ray, and Thunder Shock to slowly whittle down the Magikarp. Again, since we're a ghost type and they only know normal type moves, the Magikarp pose no risk to us. So we just slowly take him down. Gen 4. The slowest bars of all time. Knowing that I'd have to do a lot of waiting around, mostly for bars just to go up or down, after a few encounters I decided to go for a walk. So I went on a walk through the old neighborhood, fishing up Magikarp as I went, and it was really nice. It felt good to go down to the old lake where I filmed so many videos in the past, just to do some virtual fishing, at a place where actual real fishing occurs. Out here I really started to speculate what would happen first, hitting level 100 or finding the level 1 carp. I also ran into a level 10 Magikarp, which is pretty rare since it's only available in the 4% and 1% encounter slots. So, pretty much every Magikarp that I've found so far, except for the level 10 one that I just found, has given well over 100 experience points. So statistically, it's more likely we're going to hit level 100 than we're going to find the level 1 Magikarp, since we're going to get that done in less than 10,000 encounters. But as a veteran shiny hunter, I know that probabilities are not to be trusted. We could find multiple level 1 Magikarps before we hit level 100, or we could go for tens of thousands of encounters without finding a single one. Either way, the level 1 carp could happen at any moment, but level 100 is something that is still going to be set and will still require a grind no matter what. So, I gotta keep fishing. I've only fished up 35 so far. So, I got home and kept grinding. While hanging out with my brother Mike playing Super Nintendo, I got in a few more carps. And then I did a few more encounters on my own time. With under 100 carps fished, our Rotom had become strong enough to start actually taking out these Magikarp with actual moves, instead of having to rely on Toxic and Confusion stalling, which was really nice, and the pace really started to pick up. Within no time at all, I had fished up 100 Magikarp. Then later that night, I underwent another little change of scenery, up towards the top of a parking garage, overlooking the city, with my 3DS and Pokemon Platinum version. It slowly got darker and darker outside, as my Rotom grew stronger and stronger. We stayed out there for a pretty long time, and I still don't know why my family drove me out there. Maybe they just wanted to get a nice view of something, but I really don't know what that something was. Because I was glued to my DS screen, fishing up Magikarp in the resort area, the entire time. By the end of the night, I had fished up 217 Magikarp and hit level 43. Pretty good for day 1. Then progress halted for a few days until July 10th, day 2, when I got a spark of motivation from seeing a massive fly that reminded me of fishing somehow.
Get a load of the size of that fly right there, dude. It's massive. That is a gigantic horsefly.
I decided to multitask my carp fishing with my still ongoing Shiny Shadow Bayleaf hunt in Colosseum. And I had a chill short session of grinding and hunting. I really didn't play all that long, but I still got in a few levels and resets. And that's all that matters, because progress is still progress. At the end of the session, we had hit 300 total Magikarp fished up and level 48. July 12th, day 3 of actually doing gameplay for this challenge, and I'm about to switch things up a little bit. So I want to change my Rotom's forms. And the only way to do that in Platinum is with an event item called the Secret Key. Back when the game first released, there was actually a Wi-Fi event for this, but since this isn't my original Platinum file, I no longer have the secret key on here. So you'd think that there's no way for me to legitimately ever get it again. But I have the solution right here. I have the actual secret key distribution cartridge used back in the day. So after they did the initial Wi-Fi event for this distribution, they also did an in-person distribution at certain stores. And in order to do the in-person distributions, they actually sent out DS carts and DS lights to all these different stores, where they would turn them on with this cartridge inserted so they could be sent to mystery gift on the actual Pokemon games. And after the event was over, they were supposed to send these cards back to Nintendo to have them destroyed, but on most of these, whoever destroyed it didn't do a really great job. You can see that there's some cosmetic damage here, but the contacts are fine, so the game should be able to read just fine. So, let's see for ourselves and get the secret key. This is actually my first time booting up this particular event cartridge. There's me in the reflection. What up, y'all? So right here, Pokemon Platinum Secret Key Distribution. It's so cool to actually see this. Distribution not available now. So it has to be set to a certain date on the DS. I think it was, sometime in May of 2009, I'm pretty sure. Luckily, it didn't do any sort of internet validation back then, so all we have to do is change our calendar. Looks like it was April 19th to 26th, so I'll just set it to a pretty epic day. And now when we boot it up, we should be able to send it out over mystery gift. Distribution pending, channel 7. Press A to start the distribution. Distributing the secret key. Look at that. So we got that going right there. I can boot up mystery gift on this game right here. Receive via wireless. Unlock the secret. So with this secret key, we can open a door in the back of the Eternus City Team Galactic building to access a secret room with lots of appliances. I decided I'd put my Rotom into the mower because I think Mow Rotom is pretty cool. Platinum was the first time these Rotom forms were ever introduced, and something interesting that I think a lot of people forget is that Rotom was actually still Electric Ghost in these special forms in 4th gen. So it didn't gain any additional typing, just special moves. So this explains why Rotom Fan, despite being electric flying in future generations, still has the ability Levitate, because in 4th gen it was still Electric Ghost. This Ghost typing actually works out to our advantage for this Gauntlet, since that means Magikarp's normal moves will still not be able to affect us. But at this point we're already level 49, so it's not like the Magikarp would be able to do anything to us anyway. So with my new mower friend, I did some fishing. But as usual during these, and if you couldn't already tell by my distracted expression, I was doing quite a bit of multitasking while doing this grind. But everything I was doing had something in common. So right now, I am fishing up carps in 2 totally different video games while watching a literal fish play Pokemon. And it is an absolute spectacle. 631 hours. It somehow managed to get 2 badges. It's found 2 shinies so far. It's unreal. We've got a rare Sunday night KK slider because there was a fishing tournament yesterday, which I ironically forgot to do with how much fish stuff I have going on right now. So let's give him a listen. Just like how a KK Slider concert only happens once a week, my grind sessions for this Gauntlet were very short and sporadic, but very enjoyable every time I did them. If this fish finishes this Pokemon game before I finish this Gauntlet, then I'll know I have failed. That or the fish is like really, really good at the game and it suddenly starts putting in really intelligent inputs. This is what a level 70 Magikarp looks like. I decided to round out my evening by watching some of the channel that inspired me to start making videos in the first place. And then I stopped the session for the night when my DS's battery went red. I could have just plugged it in and kept going, but I decided to call it a night. And that ended up being the last time I touched this Gauntlet for an entire month, because I decided to make my dream of having Gen 2 and 3 Pokemon in Rumble a reality. In the month of August, though, I felt the carps calling my name once again, with the journal screen popping up to remind me what I last did as a grim reminder for how long I had been away from this challenge. On August 15th, I went full force at it once again. I decided to start out the session by live filming it instead of using my capture card for old time's sake. At this point it took about 15 minutes to get from one level to the next, and it would only progressively get longer and longer as the Gauntlet went on. 500 carps. I ended the day back on my capture card after fishing up my 500th carp at a respectable level 57. And then I went to go see an alligator with some friends. I started out day 5 with a Baja Blast, and a total blast of motivation to finish up some unfinished business in the Safari Zone. And while I was at it, I was also fishing. We're going fishing. There was something powerful about that Baja Blast that led to my longest fishing session so far. Level 65. Even though my sweet cup of gaming nectar that powered me through this session was now empty, even after a good night's sleep, I could still feel its effects on my motivation. By now, the average time that it took me to reach the next level had already doubled from where it was 2 days ago, with each level taking at least 30 minutes. But I really didn't seem to care, because I was just that distracted by shiny hunting and doing other things. I'm watching a speedrun of a game about a Rotom who can use Volt Tackle, and I'm going to keep working with my own Rotom right here and fish for some more carps today. On day 7, I finally found my first Magikarp exclusive to the 1% encounter slot. Level 8, dude. That's one of the rarest ones you can get. You know what, I'm going to catch it. Why not? It's not like it's going to give us much EXP anyway. Shortly after, I would then fish up my 1000th Magikarp and get in a couple more levels. 74. Going for a walk right now. I'm going fishing so I can train my lawnmower. Sounds like a pretty good day to me. All because of that Baja Blast that I drank earlier in the week. I was making so much progress. But I encountered forces that I dare say are more powerful than Baja Blast. Forces that are powerful enough to hinder the Gauntlet, or even stop it entirely for a couple days, like Rumble Weekend and a Hurricane. And of course the one that actually stopped the Gauntlet completely was Rumble Weekend, because I was entirely focused on Rumble the entire time. After 3 days of Rumble with no fishing, I had to deal with the hurricane that was forecast to maybe affect my area. I evacuated back north to my parents' place, in case things got nasty, and for a day or two, I enjoyed a few really nice walks while grinding out the Gauntlet, looking at all the peaceful and serene sights of the neighborhood. I had some pretty profound thoughts about all the breathtaking views.
Man, see that view out there? Ain't nothing but lake and water. And you know what lives in the water? Fish. Yes, sir. Fish in the water. I'm gonna go out on this, but in Pokemon Platinum version tonight, we're gonna cast a line. We're gonna go fishing for some Magikarp.
Later that night, while I was grinding, I fished up a big one. Oh, level 95 carp, that's really rare. This here Magikarp was the largest one I had found so far, but I decided to knock it out for the EXP. I ended my night at level 86 with 1721 Magikarp fished up. But this serenity would soon come to an end. On the morning of August 27th, Hurricane Laura hit, and even though we were pretty far up north in the state, we still got hit as a hurricane instead of a tropical storm, with very powerful winds.
Hey, you remember that tree I was filming a few minutes ago?
As you can see, out this window, we have a nice view of a tree. We've also got a really nice view of Danny DeVito, but, tree. Luckily, damage to the house was minimal because the chimney caught the tree. We lost electricity in the neighborhood for a while, but ultimately we were just grateful that we were all alive and safe. Life goes on, and so must the grind to get to level 100. We were extremely fortunate because my dad's shop where he works on car projects still had electricity, so I plugged in my DS and my phone and did some grinding. I've always believed that in situations like this, like a hurricane or the pandemic or 2020 in general, there's always a silver lining somewhere if you can look for it. But in my case usually, since I chose gold version as a kid, it's a gold lining. On the same day of the hurricane, this happened.
Shiny Magikarp. This has to be somewhere in like the 1600s or 1700s. This is insane. I had a feeling this would maybe happen over the course of this. Unreal. Might name her Laura after the hurricane. Wow. First shiny in the shop, first in shop, FIS.
Oh man, I got to partake in a lost art for the first time today because of that shiny. And that is the art of closing your DS the second you notice it's shiny so you can preserve the shiny sparkles for a video. And ever since I started watching shiny videos, I've been wanting to do that for years. But I've always been live filming, so I've never really needed to until now. So I'm glad I got it. With my new, very unfittingly relaxed Magikarp, I remembered another feature in the 4th gen games by watching her sparkle in battle.
Seal capsules. Being able to have special effects when you send your Pokemon out into battle. Now Carp has some really cool special effects.
After the storm, nature began to heal pretty quickly, and I went back to my apartment where thankfully barely anything had happened, and I honestly might have been safer if I didn't evacuate in the first place. But I guess the story wouldn't be nearly as cool. Alright, so I'm watching Dallas's stream right now. Someone named True Blue Ranger. How about a level 100 Gauntlet only killing Magikarp? I don't know, I don't really like Magikarp. Sorry. Of course, I was lying through my teeth as a joke when I typed that. Though it may not seem that way with how much damage I'm doing to the Magikarp population, but doing this Gauntlet has made me appreciate Magikarp on a whole other level. I don't want to make the assumption that I'm anywhere nearly as powerful as them, but I feel like I can finally understand and resonate with the fishermen who have a full team of only 6 Magikarp in every game. They didn't settle for the only fish they were capable of catching. They settled for an iconic fish. The fish that's the face of fishing in the Pokemon series. The fish with a nearly unmatched perfect attendance record across every main series game. The fish that's useless, but is iconic for it. Because when it pulls off something incredible, like jumping really high or running a super elaborate kingdom secretly underwater at a resort, it's magical. I think Magikarp and Gyarados are the perfect example of a line where both Pokemon are iconic in their own ways, but don't necessarily overshadow each other. Gyarados got plenty of limelight at the Lake of Rage. It gets plenty of use in battles. And it even runs its own kingdom at the Nature Preserve in Black 2 and White 2, which was its own video that I did a few years ago. But Magikarp in its own right is still great. And I really started to recognize that by doing this Gauntlet. But anyway, the days following all kind of blurred together in my head. Every day after work, I'd do some shiny hunting and carp grinding. And I'd often only get in 1 level in a session, just because of how long each level was taking now. We were in the home stretch of the leveling part of this Gauntlet, and every single level felt like a big hill to climb. There was still no sign of the level 1 Magikarp appearing, but something related to it showed up on the morning of day 17, September 5th. Oh my gosh, that's a level 100 Magikarp! In the wild! That is so rare. That is 1 in 10,000. Oh my gosh, dude. Wow. That is crazy. Let's take this thing out. I'm definitely going to catch a level 1 Magikarp when I find it, but I'm going to take down the level 100. Down it goes. Let's see how much EXP we get. 725. That was a beautiful sight to see. Makes me wonder how long it's going to take for us to find the level 1 now, though. Since we found a shiny and a level 100 already. And just for a little extra proof, don't have anything with pressure in my party. Rotom's ability, Levitate. So yeah, that was a bona fide 1 in 10,000 chance. So crazy. Not too long after, this happened. 98. And then I only had 2 more levels to go. And I decided I'd live stream those final 2 levels on my Twitch channel, where I stream sometimes. So here's a recap of the stream. Fishing up a bunch of Magikarps, and I'm letting my lawnmower attack them. And I'm doing that until this pond is dry. And we're level 100. And level 99. One more level to go. That took about 49 minutes to get from 98 to 99. Probably going to take about an hour or so to get to 100. Maybe a little bit less. And however long it took, it definitely didn't feel like it took very long. I took on a new clandestine fishing spot behind the Pokemon Center thanks to chat's guidance. Someone requested that I added another Magikarp somewhere on the layout, so I added one in a spot that felt pretty logical to me. And whoa, the Magikarp stayed on screen, that's so weird. Yeah, I've encountered so many Magikarps now that it burned itself into the layout. You know, a bunch of monitors, like LCD screens, they have like a burn-in on it that can happen. I unfortunately left the game up for too long, and the Magikarp is now burned in right there forever. Small price to pay for a level 100 off of only these. Also, I had the foresight to address the potential criticism this video might receive for me using a Rotom instead of a Magikarp in battle. Alright, now we're actually using a Magikarp. That's a massive carp just like lurking in the trees right there. Watching my every move. No, I think I'm just like hiding behind the Pokemon Center. But the Magikarp sees everything. The Omnicarp. People continued to request more carps be added to the layout, so I delivered. During this gauntlet, I wasn't looking for a Pokemon. I was looking for myself. Any shinies on this quest? Yeah, check it out. I got a shiny right here. Right here. About an hour flew by, and we reached our final carp for level 100. And dude, is my correction gonna be right? I predicted 2674 like a few minutes ago, and I think this is it. Level 55. I think I'm gonna use Leaf Storm to finish this one off. And I think we'll be at level 100. Level 100 off of only Magikarps. 2,674 carps. But this journey is far from over now. We hit level 100 at 119 hours and 27 minutes on the file, which is, I don't know how many hours since I started. It's definitely not been 119 hours since I started, though. But yeah, this journey's far from over. It's time to swap over to another layout and continue this journey with another game. The hunt is on for the level 1 Magikarp now. Alright, it's time. It's time to not even get a nibble on both games. We had a clear winner in the race. Level 100 had happened before the level 1 carp. And now at my own leisure, I could finally do some catch and release fishing instead of catch and destroy fishing. And on 2 games at once, this felt a lot more like the shiny hunting than I'm used to. I ended up getting in quite a few encounters before ending stream for the evening, and I ended it on a pretty interesting note too. A Magikarp from the exclusive 1% group. I've got so many shinies to edit too, Julio. So much editing to be done. And that's a level 9 carp. What a way to end it. That's in the super rare group. That's effectively like, if you are targeting a level 9 Magikarp, you effectively have a 1 in 10,000 chance of finding one. And we found one. But it's really more along the lines of a little around like 1 in 500 something to actually see something in this slot. But yeah, this is like one of the rarest Magikarps you can find, so I'll capture it. That was a good way to end it. That could have been the level 1, man. Really could have. I continued hunting this Magikarp alongside my typical shiny hunts I was doing. And I even ended my long-term Girafarig hunt in the Safari Zone before I found this level 1 carp.
Nice. Shiny Girafarig! Oh my gosh!
So once I finished that hunt, I decided to just focus on fishing up Magikarp for a while. Just kidding, I decided to pick up my Battle Revolution costume hunt that I've been doing for like 3 years. But no matter what I was doing or what I was hunting, I was fishing up some carps. And I was fishing them up fast, too. You don't really realize how long it actually takes to defeat each individual Pokemon until you just run away from every single Magikarp you find. Then, on the evening of September 24th, I went over to my friend Phil's place to get some footage of some hummingbirds, and I thought that was going to be the only highlight of my evening. It was really cool getting to see the hummingbirds up so close on the feeder, but I also ended up fishing up my 5,000th Magikarp that evening, bringing me halfway to the 1 in 10,000 odds of finding this level 1 carp. But then, there was another highlight to my evening. Something crazy found during anime night with my friend Davis. Oh man. Wild level 1 Magikarp, dude! Oh my gosh, 5,216 encounters. This thing is like a 1 in 10,000 chance. And it's here. Oh man, dude, it's real! It's actually real! I don't think I've seen anyone actually ever find this before in Platinum. Dude, it's the power of anime night, I'm telling you. Yeah! Gonna try and use a special Pokeball for it, because otherwise you can't get level 1 Pokemon in special Pokeballs in 4th gen, since you don't get them passed on through breeding. And we caught it in a Heal Ball. Look at this little beaut. This little shrimp of a Magikarp. And with this, I can say that the gameplay for this Gauntlet is officially over. We fished up 5,216 Magikarp. Took us about half of that to get to level 100. And now we found both the level 100, the level 1, and a shiny Magikarp. Well under the odds of finding all 3 of those things, let's be honest. So, yeah, let's look at the summary of this real quick. Resort area, met at level 1. And we also got good old Hurricane Laura right here, the shiny one that we got. So this has been a good time. And now 14 hours after hitting level 100, our work here is done. At the resort area in the Kingdom of Magikarp. At least for now. I'm sure there's more I can do here, like maybe getting an entire living dex of every Magikarp possible. But that's a story to be told another day. And I'm satisfied with the story that I've told here today. And I hope you were too. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.